What's going on, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Merricks Garage, home of the K30 Blazer and all my shenanigans, adventures, and mishaps. I did a Instagram live with KC Hilites over on their Instagram channel last night. They asked me a bunch of questions. I talked about the channel and the build, and I thought you guys might find it interesting. Note to self, try not to talk so much and have complete thoughts. Watching this video was total cringe for me because it's not edited, it's just me talking. So you get to see the raw Merricks Garage. I hope you guys enjoy it. Click the link down below to subscribe. You know what to do. Merricks Garage.
What's up, bud?
What's up?
How's it going?
Good. How you doing, man?
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get... There. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Cheers to you. It's about that time, bud.
We're going to get crazy.
Right on, right on.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother. Cheers. So what's up, everybody? I'm here with James from Merrick Garage, and I basically took over this for about an hour. Taylor and Ollie was kind of busy, and so was Alan. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to talk to James and, try to...
I like you best anyway.
Is that cool? Yeah. I hope you don't mind, dude. I hope you don't. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Sweet, brother. So it sounds like I'm assuming you're at your house.
I
relaxing.
am relaxing out on my deck, enjoying the late afternoon.
Nice, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little hot today, like out here in LA, but I'm assuming up there where you are, it's a lot cooler. Can you hear me?
I think we're having some glitches. Are you there?
Yeah. I see it.
Can you hear me? Are you back?
There's a little, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. Cool, dude. So let's get into it.
I am a full signal, so.
Yeah, me too. Hop is saying everything's good. We can hear. Yeah, I'm good. All right, James. So tell us more about yourself and your Merricks Garage YouTube page and everything else and anything square body.
Oh man,
Like, how did you get
we have 6 hours? How did I get into square bodies, or how did? Oh, okay. Well, this is probably the first time I've actually talked about this, because it's not something that really comes up on my channel. But the truck that you guys all see, the K30 Blazer that I call it, I bought that in 1994. I bought it in high school. It was like the first vehicle that I saved up for, and dude, I mean, I wanted a square body from the moment I saw them when I was like 15 years old. So I bought one. I drove it. It was my daily forever. And I mean, dude, I love that truck. And, marriage, kids, all that. I still had it, but it was just laying around kind of dying on the side of the road. And about six years ago, I decided that, it was time to, I always had a plan to rebuild it. I mean, it was never a question of whether I was going to rebuild it. It was just a matter of when. And so I just pulled the trigger and I said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to do everything. And here we are. And it's kind of snowballed. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. I just started posting videos of stuff that I'd done. Mainly because every time I was researching something, like, I didn't know much. I mean, I was mechanical, but I didn't know how to weld. I didn't know, how to tune a motor. I would just Google everything. I just consumed information on how to do this. And I realized I was pulling information from like 10 different websites or just all over the place. So I thought, I'm going to put all the information and wants to do what I've done. They've basically got a game plan. So,
Wow.
And 206 videos later.
When you said high school, when you said high school, though, I mean, dude, that was a while back. I'm assuming. I don't want to, age you or date you, but I mean, as far as like, I'm assuming it didn't. Was there Google around? Like when you say Google, I'm like, really? Like when was
No.
this?
So I didn't start doing. This was pre-internet.
Right. Okay.
I started. So the truck was my daily all through high school. Got me through college. That was my. It was my rig. I mean, that's what I did. Everything. And then it just got to the point where it was like 14 is when I was just like, it's go time. So that's when I started the Googling and all that jazz. So yeah, but and then here we are. I mean, I basically, I wanted to put out there the whole thing that there's so much information out there that if you want to do something in this day and age, you can do it. You can learn how to work in SolidWorks. You can learn how to weld. You can learn how to computer program. You just got to buck up and do it. And so
Yeah.
when I discovered that it was, heck, it was working, I was able to build these things. It just fired me up all the more just to kind of be like, hey, you guys can do this. And that's honestly one of the coolest things. Am I glitchy? Am I coming through?
Yeah. But so I don't know if you're on Wi-Fi, but I just switched off of my Wi-Fi, so I'm on 5G now. So I don't know if you might want to do that because I don't know if you're like at that border of your Wi-Fi network. I'm not sure, but you are glitchy. Hey James,
My back?
Cool.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So you were saying?
So that's been the main thrust, is just like trying to encourage people that like, look, you just do something. Like start fixing your truck, or don't fix your truck. Just take it out and break it and see what happens, and fix that when you get home. And I'll tell you one of the coolest things, dude. I get emails from people that are just like, dude, I took my truck out. I broke this. It was all good. And I'm like, right on. That's what I want to see. So yeah, and then here we are. I mean, the opportunities that I've been afforded through all this has been mind blowing. Super cool. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I've been four wheeling for 25 years. So I've watched the whole generational change from like the old school 44s, boggers, and leaf springs to full IFS, IRS, just dialed rigs. It's been crazy, especially in the last 10 years, to see with the advent of the Ultra 4 series and all the different technologies. We're living in the golden age, man. It's great.
It's
So
crazy. Those Ultra 4 guys can do. It's just like, wow. There is no slow and steady like a Jeeper, like because I'm a Jeeper
no,
myself. This is like just go really fast
but
up
and
that mountain with boulders.
all that
Right?
technology is trickling down. I mean, that's the fact that you can buy a triple bypass king coilover that's pretty much running their race tuning.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then you can get a great LS motor and drop it in your whatever, and you got a freaking desert sleigh or a rock sleigh. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
dude.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
And that was the first time, like, so let's talk about like King of Hammers. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's the first time we actually met in person. But like
That
before
was,
that,
yeah.
yeah, before that we were like, I think you called me around October as I was going to Sema, and I was like, yeah, your build is cool, your YouTube page is cool, but man, we're in the middle of something right now, so let me get back to you. But it worked out. You definitely did some work to your rig from there. But dude, I mean, it looks beautiful now. So just tell us a little bit more about that K5, because I know that the progression after your high school and you're Googling it. Just tell me, like, from that point on,
Yeah.
after building it, just tell us that story. Like, where did it go?
So my objective, I have three kids and a wife, and our vacations are in the mountains or in the ocean. So we need vehicles that can get us to where we're going. And we're taking my wife's Honda Pilot everywhere, and I was just beating that thing. And so I decided, like, okay, I'm going to build the Blazer to be like a family hauler. And my kids were all little. I mean, they were, this was 6, 8 years ago. So I built it up. I mean, I basically went simple. I did an LS swap. I mean, that's not simple, but that's the most obvious thing to do for these trucks. And 1-ton axles, which is the main Achilles heel of the K5. So put 1-tons in, reinforced the frame, and then I just started using it. And as I used it, it would, a weakness would arise and I'd fix it, or I was the weakness. And I mean, I've rolled it 2 times. I beat this thing hard. And every time I come back from a trip and something's happened, I fix it. I mean, I bent the frame at Pismo 2 years ago, and so did a full frame off on it. And
Ooh,
yeah, all in my driveway.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Merricks garage, right? I mean, to me, it's like
Exactly.
you break something and then you just build it better. You know what I mean? It's just, that's what it is. And dude, much respect, because I've seen you put in some work from like welding to electric to like you name it. Holy
never
man.
ends. Never. Well, and it kind of dovetails. The wonderful thing is, the more you do this stuff, the more you get confident in tackling bigger and bigger things. And so it's just like, in the beginning, if I couldn't bolt it on, I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? And then you get to the point where you're like, I can build something and boom, it changes everything. So my projects, the scope of my projects kind of increased. And yeah, I mean, I've got a square body Suburban I bought that I'm going to be doing a huge build on coming up, and then hopefully starting in the next few months. And yeah, but it's going to be a milder version of the K30. I mean, the K30 now it's 4-linked. It's got a full custom frame, custom interior. I mean, there's nothing I haven't touched, but it works. It works for everything I want to do. I mean, I'm going to go wheeling tomorrow, and I just throw my gear in it and go, and it's awesome.
Nice. So I realized something. When you say K30, I was like, I had to Google that for myself because I'm a Jeeper. I was like, what in the world is a K30? So explain that for like the people that don't know.
Yeah. So that's kind of a it's kind of a secret code to the square body guys. Mm-hmm. So square bodies, and when I say square body, so the Blazer was pretty much 73. I mean, they did those first gens, but 73 to 91, they pretty much didn't change. And so it's one of the most popular platforms in the off-road world because they're still plentiful, they're super capable, they're solid axle. So Chevy built anything four-wheel drive was called K. So they had a K10, a K20, and a K30. K10 was the half-ton, K20 was the 3/4 ton, and K30 was the 1-ton. They only ever made a K5 Blazer. So as a little like tip of the hat to the whole old school, when I put the 1-tons in and when I beefed up the frame, I decided to call it the K30. Now it's the 1-ton Blazer. And so it's a lot of people get confused, but those who know squares are just like, I see what you did. So, and I'm seeing more and more people calling them K30s now when they've done the whole swap, which I think is great. So yeah, that's up at the Rubicon about a month ago now. That picture you just posted up. Yeah.
Speaking of that, like, how was that trip, man? Because I saw that video and it was insane. I mean, it was a full size like take. So tell us that experience, dude. I'm sure you guys maneuvered around a lot, but go for it.
Oh yeah. So I've done it a couple times. And a couple times with a full-size crew. I did a video on it last year, but this year it was pretty much all full-size. There was like 3 Blazers and then a couple of really big trucks. And honestly, if you're a decent driver, if you have patience, if you listen to your spotter, you're going to get through the Rubicon. It's just people get caught up on the Rubicon when their trucks are just, it's not so much the size as you haven't done basic maintenance. And so you blow a U-joint and then you're screwed. But if your truck's pretty dialed and you're a decent enough driver, you've got body protection, you'll get through. You may take some damage, but I mean, that's what happens. That was,
I saw, was it your brother that had that truck? It was like a green truck, or who was that?
So the green, oh, that's Esteban. Shout out to Solo Hopper. Yeah. So Esteban has, um, he's got that crew cab 3500. It's like the size of an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
And that dude can put that thing in places he shouldn't. But dude, he amazed. I mean, we did the John Bull a couple of months ago before we did the Rubicon recently, and
Wow.
he just I met him in Moab, so we ran top of the world, behind the rocks, I mean, he's taken that thing everywhere. So
Amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
it's his truck is a testament to the technology, man. And he did a solid axle swap on it too. So, and then Sean, who was also with us, who had the Duramax, he had the tan one, same
Mm-hmm.
thing, solid axle, about 48 feet of sliders, and and yeah, a lot of patience. But
40.
it was a great trip.
That was awesome, dude. I mean, I was
Yeah.
like, literally one of the guys I think was like, "Oh man, this is definitely a pucker factor right now," and I was like, "Yeah, no way in heck would I be wheeling a truck towards like Rubicon, and it's crazy like what you guys are doing."
So
And it was like
that was
all that
Carl.
grinding and like the pounding. You're just like, holy. So
Well,
tell us about like was there any kind of mechanic that you had to do to fix any of the rigs? Because I think I saw like one of them was a drive shaft or
oh
something.
yeah, no drive shaft. So there's all. I mean, you're always rolling the dice anytime you wheel that you're gonna mess up a drive shaft or something like that. So yeah, we last year when we did it, we did mess up a drive shaft. But it was the end of the trail. Put it in two-wheel drive, and you can get out. This year we had there's a section after Spider that you come into that is problematic for big rigs. It's tight. It slows them down every time. And the Duramax knocked off its filters on the fuel, and so it had no fuel filters, and it was a bad scene for about 3 hours as we cobbled the system back together. But that was the only mechanical that we had. That was
Okay.
just it was just one of those, like, it happens. I think Sean's already gone and built a new bracket to reinforce it and to kind of tuck it up out of the way. But yeah, I mean the trip itself. So you mentioned the pucker factor. Um,
Yeah.
Carl, who drives that white K5, that guy, man. I met him probably 3 or 4 years ago when I did a trail run. And I put it out on my channel that I was going to be up on this trail, and he showed up. We wheeled together. Super cool guy. We just kind of kept in touch through Instagram and Facebook, and he's just been slowly building his truck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, dude, you got to come on the Rubicon with us. And he's like, and he loved it. He loved it. So yeah, he had some pucker factor. There was a couple of lines that I took that I'd be like, Carl, there's a bypass. And
Right. You
he
always got to have
provided.
that alternative, right? I get
Oh
the
man,
easy route.
he was awesome. He did such a great job. I mean, I took the most damage. I'm probably the least patient driver out there in the group, and so I'm the one. I mean, I took damage that because I was just like, oh, let's just go, and
Nice.
he didn't take a thing. So yeah, testament to my crew. They're a bunch of good dudes and good drivers.
Yeah, dude.
So
I was just amazed when it was like I saw it on your channel. I was like full size takeover. I was like, are these guys serious about this? This is crazy. But props to you guys for doing it, man. That was
oh
awesome.
man, there's guys doing stuff in full sizes that is just silly. I mean, so
You all right there, bud?
I get all excited talking about the Rubicon. Um,
Yeah, that's for sure.
well, so there was a couple guys who we were with on the trail that as soon as they finished the con, they went up and hit Fordyce,
Whoa.
and they're all in big full sizes, and yeah,
You
the
guys are
full
like
size army, man.
next, right?
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
great trip, and that's such a good trail. I mean, we're so blessed to have that trail this close to us, and I mean, it's. I hope the community does not take it for granted because it's a major, major blessing to have that trail available to us. So,
yeah, totally. For any 4x4 community, definitely. I mean, it's like a mecca for you to even go there.
It's unreal. Yeah, I mean, we were pulling in as we got to Loon and we were about to shove off. This crew rolled in, and they were all from Kentucky. They 36 hours. They cannonballed out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to meet you. Is that what it was?
Yeah, just because of me. Yeah. No. The draw of the con, man. The draw of the con.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is amazing. We're gonna definitely, like, Ali and myself are planning to go out there as well in the coming weeks. So yeah, we're definitely. I have not been there, so I'm looking forward to it. So.
Oh, it's awesome. It's, you know, the thing with the Rubicon is it's there isn't anything that's just like, oh, like you go to Fordyce and you've got, you know, Wind Chill 3 that dude, they're gnarly. Whereas the Rubicon, there's nothing that you'd be like, this is insane, but it's just unrelenting. I mean, it's just nonstop. I mean, everything is just obstacle. So, I mean, by the end of the day, you're just exhausted. And then you stop and you sleep under the stars and you're just like, I'm good.
Like, this is
you guys will love it.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. If I could move up to Buck Island, I'd move up there in a heartbeat.
Man, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us more about your K5. So is it accessible? Like, can you do a walk around, or are you pretty much stationed?
Yeah, I can get out to it if you want.
Look.
Let's see how this will work.
Dude, you're such a pro with the iPhone.
I know. Well, I've got it on a gimbal.
Nice. I was like, it's so steady.
So, and the garage is a huge mess right now, but
oh, there it goes. Oh yeah.
There it is. Woo-wee.
Love the new addition.
oh, dude. Oh, they're insane. I gotta say, and I'm gonna be doing a video on this just because there's lights, and then there's lights. And I've had a lot of people hit me up, and they're like, "Dude, those lights are awesome. They're so expensive." And I'm like, "Yeah, they are." But you don't have to get expensive lights, just like you don't have to get expensive suspension or expensive tires. But there's a difference, and when you get to the point where you're utilizing it, like the difference is it's astounding. I mean, I've spent 6 years using crap lights, and you know they just don't work. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. They just don't work. So yeah, let's let me open the hood here for you guys, and then I'll give you guys a quick. So here's the interior of the truck. I mean, yeah. So I pulled out everything that was in here originally, and it's all been,
Looks awesome.
Yeah, and then the back, I got my kids can still sit in here, and then here's is that coming through? Because I can't really see. But
yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. Nice.
Okay. Yeah, so this is an LQ9 out of a Escalade. So iron block, 6-liter, bunch of stuff done to it, lots of wires, and then a full Holley setup on it, PSC, hydraulic steering. Yeah, and then let's see what we got here. So here's all the axles, and then I'll show you. And then moving around here. So this is all the frame I built on it. And yeah, I mean it's. Is this all coming through? I'm not sure what you guys are seeing.
Yeah. Looking clean. Cool, man.
Yeah, I love this thing. And then So, oh, and B's, which actually I think you guys are not making this size anymore, right?
Yeah, G46s, man. I think you got like the last batch. I mean,
Dude,
unless your square body army tells us, hey, KC, bring it back, then we might consider it. You know, so
5x7. We need a 5x7, but the 4x6 was perfect for some of these girls. I mean, that fit. It looks factory. So
cool.
yeah.
Well, so James, you just got to make that demand, and we'll make it happen.
You gotta demand them, okay? Yeah. So that's the truck. I mean, there's so much on it. It's as we're talking, it's one thing kind of goes a little sideways on you, and so you come back and you rethink it. And I mean, the amount of stuff I've built for this truck that has failed me miserably.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
You gotta.
But man, it's like an art form. Every
Thank
time
you.
I see you wrenching on your Blazer, I'm like, wow, this guy's really taking pride in everything he does, and it's like doing it, dude. Like you are definitely the DIY guy, you know.
This is gonna sound weird, but I consider it like art. I look at some of this work that these fabricators are doing, and I'm like, this is art. The skill that I see, and I'm just learning and following along the footsteps of some of the stuff that is put out there. I mean, it's really cool to see like the artistic direction going. Like you're seeing people do builds that are not like I look at Vice Unlimited and the Trophy Rat trucks, and they're taking old vehicles and repurposing and just taking unexpected forms of transport and turning them into capable rigs. It's beautiful to me. Like what you guys did with your Wagoneer. Like I love that. Yes. Yeah, that is. I mean, the fact that you guys. Yeah, dude, that thing's badass. I love it. And when I saw that you guys, like, I remember at Sema last year, dude, it was like a gladiator party. It was like everyone and their brother had built a gladiator. It's like, and then I saw that, and I'm like, you guys rock.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a sweet build.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's funny that you say that because we were planning for SEMA last year, and we're like, well, at least me, because I'm fairly new. It's been 2 years, a little over 2 years that I've been with KC, and I was like, yeah, let's have the Gladiator showcase at our booth, and then one of our more seasoned guy, Brad, love the guy. He's just like everybody's gonna have a Gladiator, and I was like, okay. And then sure enough, you just hit it on the nail, man. Everybody had a Gladiator, and when we brought the Wagoneer, it was totally different. And you know what? That's cool. And it was perfect for us because it's a 1969 Wagoneer, and we're celebrating.
Oh,
here, so.
Did you guys plan that? Was that you went out and saw it for 50? That's thinking right there.
Yes,
man.
Sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
no, it makes a difference because honestly, I think there's, and I don't want to get into the, we're all four-wheelers. At the end of the day, just get out there and enjoy yourself. But there is something to be said about seeing a rig that you can tell that someone has kind of molded and shaped it into what they want it to be. And I think that's why Jeeps are so popular is they offer such an easy platform and entry point into the market, into the sport. But there's some amazing builds, and I love seeing people taking old stuff, throwing axles on it, and going out and wheeling it.
Yeah,
so,
I could certainly appreciate that, and it is an art form. I mean, thanks to NB Fab and Rick Dunehor, for putting it all together and having that vision, and obviously Alan and the team, man. We love it. It's definitely one of our rigs that is part of the KC family. It's just awesome. So.
Yeah, I mean, to think that thing was built when you guys started, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's and the lines, and I mean, they just look good, and they have so much room. I mean, that's what people don't. With the newer vehicles, they have so much capability. They've got so much stuff, whereas the old school stuff there's nothing on it. There's no anti-lock brakes. There's no cruise control or rack and pinion. It's just like. It's like you got a stick to shift, and that's about it. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely a bit of an upgrade, what Nick did. when we were wheeling it. And you saw it at KOH, I believe, when we were at Cougar Buttes, right? So
Yep.
we shook it down a lot, and we just barely got it back. I was actually in your neck of the woods, basically wheeling around San Ynez Mountains, and yeah, right now
I know
it's
where you
just
guys
getting,
went.
Exactly. So we're up there, did another shakedown, but yeah, we're just basically preparing it right now. It's potentially, working with Peterson Automotive Museum. So we're doing a lot with it, and hopefully once this whole COVID thing is done, we could actually show it at more live events, right? So,
Well, and
but
that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, you don't build a truck and then wipe your hands and call it good. Like, you build a truck and then you refine the truck. So it's just like there's a massive process after it hits the dirt where you've got to figure out, like, this mount needs to be moved, or these shocks need to be tuned, or my bump stops are too long, or steering is too something. There's always something. And it's just, you just polish it. I mean, that's what I'm telling people. They're always like, why are you still working on it? I'm like, dude, I'm polishing and refining it,
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I could appreciate that. Right on, brother. So tell us more about your K5, going back to your rig. I realized in one of your videos, it was like a gray kind of camo look at one point, and then something happened. So can you share that with our followers?
Oh yeah, a lot. So I built it with the solid axles, leaf springs, LS swap, and got it tuned. It was everything. It was good. I was finished, and I took it out to Hammers in 2017, and I rolled it in the lake bed, and that sucked. I mean, it was me and a couple of buddies by ourselves, upside down in the lake bed. Had to wait till someone showed up, and flipped it back over and kicked out the glass, and I drove it home, and it was freaking miserable, and it rained on us, and the truck was thrashed, and so that was a dark time. But I was just like, hey, it's time to go to the next level. So I started. I did the 4-link first. I did the front, and then, well, this was another live and learn lesson. So I did the front. The front was all done. Coils, links, dialed. The rear couldn't really keep up. It was still just the old school leaf springs. So out in Pismo, I full on bananaed the frame. And that was when I decided, like, okay, I was planning on linking the rear anyway, but when I bent it, I basically cut it from the driver's seat back, I just cut the frame out.
Wow.
And yeah, I bought a bunch of steel and built a frame in my garage, and it hasn't exploded yet. So yeah,
wow.
It hasn't exploded yet.
That's awesome.
And then last year, out in Moab, I rolled it again. Just in the dunes, just hooning around, being I took a turn wrong. It was all me. They were always me. And so yeah, once again, it was like, okay, it's time to redo the cage. And every time something like that happens, it's just, it gives me an opportunity to kind of pause and be like, okay, what else do I need to focus on? So the what you're seeing now, so it went from, I had a digital camo, like black and gray wrap, for a couple years, and then this winter when I redid the front end, I wrapped it in what you're seeing, the blue. So, and when I came out to Cougar Buttes and Hammers, that was the first time it was back on the road. So yeah, it had been off the road for about 6 months at that point. So
Really?
that was a beat down on it too. But that was fun. I wish I could have got there earlier and reeled with you guys more, but Cougar Buttes is fun.
Yeah, dude.
So,
I mean, it was awesome because I remember seeing, we were already shooting the footage for one of our videos, and I see this like blue streak coming at us, and I was like, I think that's James. And yeah, sure enough, as soon as you came up, it was right there, just wheeling with us, man. And we got some good footage that we will share with everybody later on, but during the year. But it looked epic, dude. So and you were on there. just, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I love going
And
out the desert.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad you're just, part of the family, and you're just building it up and showing that love on that Blazer side, square body life. So that's awesome, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I've square bodies and KCs are kind of like peanut butter and jelly. It's just like you look back in the day and it's just like you have those daylighters on your truck. You were, dude. So I knew sooner or later that I was gonna, up my lighting game. And yeah, started off small doing your rock lights, which have been fantastic, and then getting some rear lights and getting all my turn signals are cyclones now, so people can actually see my turn signals.
Right.
So yeah, my light game is on point, which is it's great.
And I realized, I think at one point you were like, "Hey, I really like those harnesses for the cyclones," and I was like, "Thanks. I'll make sure I tell R&D that should just be the standard, right?"
Dude. So, true story. You can tell a lot. Like, I get it. The money should go into the lights a lot of the time, but the harness is massive part of it. And everything was terminated properly. Everything had clean crimps. Everything had shrink wrap. Everything was appropriate lug for the wire gauge. I mean, those are the things that I look at that I want. And I mean, most of the time I just throw harnesses away and build my own. And so when this harness showed up and everything was shrink wrapped and perfect, I was like, ooh. So good job. Yeah, that was sweet.
Thanks.
You guys should consider doing harnesses, like just making harnesses, like have a harness available. I mean, they're
definitely. I mean, I'll take that up with R&D, and I'll put it up and bring it up to them on their queue. So yeah, that's cool, man.
I saw one of the questions some dude just asked was how hard was it to wire it up, and I mean, that LED technology, man. No more relays, no more any of that. It's like plug it in. I mean, it really was. And I've got the Switch Pros, so that does make it quite a bit easier. But still, one plug that runs all 9 lights. And I did a load test on it, and it's only pulling like 15, 16 amps. I mean, that's insane. That's what headlights used to pull on these things stock. So
nice.
Yeah.
And so then one of the guys also was asking, what if it rolls over again? What's going to happen with those light bars? And I could answer that for them. I mean, hopefully you don't roll over, but safety first.
Yeah.
But so what happens is it's linkable. So at any point it breaks, you could actually rebuild it. And if you don't know how to do that, you could work with our warranty team and our service team, and we could rebuild it for you. It's not
well, and it's I mean, that's one of the things I looked at. I'm like, okay, light bars had their place, and everyone and their brother threw light bars on their trucks. The problem with the light bar was, it's like, dude, you get a little bit of condensation in part of the light, and that whole light is compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at this, I'm like, yeah, I'm most likely, I'm probably gonna smash one of these things. I mean, this is a tool. This truck's gonna get put to work, and yeah, stuff happens. And I've already kind of looked at it and been like, okay, can I build some more protection? I'm like, no, if it happens, I replace the light. It's not the end of the world. And also being able to swap the lenses out, it's just, yeah, it's well thought out. And it matches, the little bend matches. I like the radius. You guys I can radius it so I can get greater coverage.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Ruben, if I'm going to roll it, just take the friggin' lights off.
Oh,
thanks, Ruben. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. So, a couple of other questions for you. If we want to start to talk about questions here. What suspension from Owen? What suspension is on that Blazer?
So I have the Off-Road Designs kit. So I do a lot of work with ORD out of Colorado. So Off-Road Designs, Stephen Watson, he is the godfather of square body tuning. He's been doing it longer than anyone else. So Off-Road Design produces a kit that comes with all the link arms, that comes with all the tubing, comes with all the brackets. And yeah, I mean, you've got to fabricate, weld, cut, do all that. But a lot of the hard work in terms of, you know, link separation angles and anti-squat and all that is being done for you. So I used Bilstein coilovers and bumps and Eibach springs and ORD throughout. And I'd highly recommend it. It's, yeah, and all this stuff, I mean, on my channel, I did probably 20 videos when I did the swap of like how it all goes together. And yeah, because I mean, they intend it to be something you can put in your Blazer and do it yourself in your driveway.
Nice.
So, yeah. So Off-Road Design for that.
Good to know. Good to know. So one of our team members, Taylor, asks, he saw your reaction video for the Bronco. What would be your first mod if you get the Bronco?
That's a really good question. I'll be straight up, dude. I was so impressed with that thing. I mean, let's get it in the wild and really see what it can do. And I mean, we all know that the launch videos, they're just beating the piss out of those things. But still, I mean, the proportions, the body lines, everything looked right. I would probably do a locker up front. I don't know if it had a selectable up front, but and this is one of those Ultra 4 things. Like 5 years ago, I would have told you to stay away from IFS. Like if you wanted to go off-road, IFS is not the best thing. Right. But dude, we got plenty of guys. I mean, I'm still all about solid axle, but I wouldn't necessarily just rip that sub-assembly out and solid axle swap it. I would probably LS swap it though. I'm not a big Ford motor guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
People are, it's going to blow up right now. We're just like, what?
Well, I mean, dude, no one's going to disagree with me. Everyone's already saying that. I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's the EcoBoost. I mean, don't freaking LS. What are you talking about, dude? It needs an LS swap. It needs like a 8.1 in it or something. No, so yeah, that's probably what I do. First thing is do a front locker, and I think they had a decent amount of body protection. I was taking a look at the sliders. Sliders are probably the first upgrade that anyone should do. I mean, that's just going to protect your truck more than anything, is a good set of sliders. So if it doesn't have body protection, do body protection. Other than that, LS swapping 40s and 1-tons, baby.
Wow, right on, dude. Right. Cool, that's a good answer.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for some company to give me one and let me do a Sema build for them, because I'm gonna turn it into what the Blazer should have been.
Interesting. So, okay.
But hats off to Ford. Hats off to Ford, man. Great build. They came through. They took advantage of the name they have. I mean, they're Blazer, Chevy just. I mean, what were they thinking? You've got this iconic name, like the Wrangler, the Wagoneer. You don't put that name on a grocery getter. You're just wasting it away. And so I just don't get where the marketing for Chevy GM was at, you know, because it's just, yeah. So, I mean, it's really cool to see Ford paying that much attention to the market. I mean, they brought 3 trucks out. That's huge. And yeah, I mean, as a Jeep guy, what did you think?
Honestly, like, yeah, I mean, if it was available earlier, I would have considered the Bronco versus the Wrangler. But I was surprised at the capabilities of, you know, off of the dealership, kind of like, I mean, entry level for me was like my Wrangler, right? And I built it up, my JK. I was just like, wow, if the Bronco was available like in 2015, I would have bought it, like potentially. So yeah, to me, it was
full on. Yeah, now the problem is everyone and their mother is going to be driving one, and they're going to be the gladiator of 2021 Sema. Mark my words. But
yeah, I believe
that's fine, dude. I mean, it's a capable, awesome truck. So
absolutely.
But yeah, don't get me started on GM. They screwed the pooch, man.
Right on. Cool. So, RC, I saw that you actually did an RC Blazer build too. Are you showing something?
I have a few of them.
Woo,
so,
look at this beauty.
So this is an RC, and dude, Yeah, they're toys, but they are so much more than that now. I mean, this thing, dude, it's so capable. It's it looks realistic. It handles like a regular truck. And in terms of like understanding how these things work, they work like an actual rig. They've got solid axles, they've got transfer cases, they've got, you can change the gearing. They're awesome. And I'm a nerd. I love them. I don't care. And my kids love them too. I mean, that's the fun part is me and my boys will just go to the creek and just rock crawl, you know?
Dude,
So,
it looks so cool.
yeah, you guys got me. When you guys started work with RC four-wheel drive, that one up there, that's an RC four-wheel drive body. And they nailed it. I mean, they picked the right body style. The round headlight 78 is probably my favorite front grille. And the fact that the proportions, and then they put the KC lights on it. I'm just like,
hey, there you go.
dude, sorry. My phone overheated. I don't even know.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I'm like, what the heck? Dude, everything's charged. I've got good signal. And then all of a sudden it's just like, your phone is too hot. I'm like, what? I'm sitting in the shade.
Uh-oh. Right
this
on.
This conversation is burning up, brother.
Sorry. So we got about 10 minutes. It's on fire. It's lit. Everybody swear body light. So let's answer a couple of questions for our viewers here.
Right on.
Let's see. 4x4 America. What year is your rig?
So it is originally an 87. The only thing left on it that's 87 is the body, though. So, but yeah, I mean, it's an 87 K5 Blazer. That's the easiest way.
Got it. Okay. Diego, will a 30 spline front 10 bolt hold up as good as a Dana 44?
Depends on the year, but most likely no. The Dana 44s, I think, with 35 spline or 32, but it all depends. I mean, I've broken plenty of 10 bolts. If you're putting it on a JK, a 10 bolt will probably be if you're sticking below 35, but that's not. Short answer, no.
No worries. Brainy Head Media, favorite trail?
Favorite trail? Ooh, that's a good one. Probably a trail I haven't done yet, but I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Rubicon. I mean, it's just it's so played out because it's so awesome. I mean, that's it's just like every other trail that I can think of. I mean, John Bull is the whole Big Bear area complex is fantastic, but something about four-wheeling at like 7,000 feet with snow-capped mountains and glacier lakes. Yeah. I mean, Utah is amazing, but it's a bunch of different trails. The Rubicon is 28 miles of pure Sierra awesomeness.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks. Can't wait. All right. A couple more questions for you, bud. Actually,
Yep.
This one's for us. XJ Jeff, why can't I find any roof racks for our next XJ by KC? Well, Jeff, I will put that up to the R&D department. Don't want to hate on the XJ people, but definitely is something that we'll consider. I've seen a prototype, so we'll see what happens. All right. Back to James here. What are your next mods for the Blazer? That's from our team.
Next mod for the Blazer. So this winter, I'm thinking I want to get the Blazer back to being. So it looks like a trail rig. No doors, no roof. I'd like to kind of make it sleeper. I'd like to be able to put like a roof back on, put doors back on, hook up my AC, turn it in, and just kind of like soften the edges a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, everything else, I do want to build a center console. I do want to build fab up a nice center console for it. But that's the big thing is going to be, it's going to be that guy.
Look at that burb. Nice.
Right there. That's what these are for.
That's the beast.
Those are all going on that.
Nice.
So yeah, the parts collection has begun for the next build. So, dude, it's a
Love it.
sickness.
That's
It's a
crazy.
sickness.
Square body life, that's for sure. One question for Ali. How much of your rig is custom, or is there a lot of support for this model in general?
Me?
Yeah, you.
How much of this? Oh, the aftermarket for square bodies is huge. Now the main difference between squares and like the Jeep community is there isn't as much bolt-on stuff. There's a lot of things that you can put on your truck that require a little bit of fabrication to make work. But in terms of like to build a capable off-road square body, I mean, there's a massive community. There's tons of aftermarket support. When you want to start getting crazy and doing coilovers, you're going to be doing more fabrication. You don't have like an Evo or someone like that who builds, just bolt-on kits. But the parts are plentiful. They're relatively cheap. The support is great, and they've been around forever. So,
good to know.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's see what else is here. Eric B. Jeepin, what 1-ton axle did you use for your build?
So I have a set of CUCV axles. This is another cool history lesson about the square bodies. GM built the Blazer, and the military picked it up. The military used the K30s and the K5s for years as like base vehicles or mobile command posts, and so they made a bunch of changes to the Blazers that have become very desirable. And one of them was their axles. They took the 1-ton axles, they geared them appropriately, and they just did them right. So the CUCV 1-ton axles for a K5 or any square body are the most desirable, but pretty much any 1-ton axles will work in these. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. And you could, I mean, probably one of the best deals right now is the Ford Super Duties. They have a passenger drop or driver drop Dana 60 high pinion radius arm that will pretty much drop right. Well, you would have to change quite a lot of stuff, but yeah, that's probably the direction I would go if I was starting again.
Nice. So he also followed up, Eric also followed up, what about lockers?
Lockers before light bars, man.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Hey, when I'm a Jeeper, I'm going to have to agree on that part. But yeah.
You know what? It's everything. And that is not a cap on lighting at all. It's just a matter of, I think you need to view every part of your build as, you don't skimp on anything. I mean, that's the one thing that I've learned is I've been bitten so many times by buying cheaper stuff. And I look at it and I go, you know what? Take your time. Get a locker, because the lockers is what's going to help you do the trail. More than anything, a front locker and a rear locker is probably the best investment you can make. But when it comes time to do your lighting, pay as much attention to that as you do to what size tires you put on. I mean, it's all part of the package. Yeah. So, but lockers, I run a Detroit in the rear, and I run an Eaton E-locker, which is awesome up front.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's good.
One button, turn it on. It's great.
Really? That's good to know. I'm considering lockers for myself because I don't have a Rubicon and I have a Wrangler Sport that I built, so I'm definitely considering Eaton lockers for the rear. So,
put a Detroit in the rear. You can't break it. It'll always work. And then put a selectable up front, or maybe a limited slip, depending on how hardcore you want to get.
Nice, dude. All right, good to know. Awesome. Let's see. Milk Tea Tacoma. This is for us. Are you guys going into the RC 4-wheel drive West Coast Challenge? I heard that they're going to do it, but we don't know yet because if it's California, more than likely we're not going to be able to go. Obviously, for that reason, for most live events, we're probably not going to be able to go for the rest of the year. So, yeah.
How did that happen? How did you guys get connected with them? Because I saw that and it was like, whoa, cool.
Yeah. So basically, I think a couple of years ago, our general manager, I don't know if it was through a friend or just through a network, reached out. Not our general manager, but their, I believe, president Tom reached out to our general manager and basically asked if we could do licensing deals. And from there, it just kind of cemented our relationship, and we just built on from, you know what I mean? So, but then
Dude.
we recently did more promos with them, and it's worked great so far, and people love it, you know, especially the nostalgia part of it, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And before my phone decided to overheat, I mean, that's, so these things, I mean, I had RC trucks when I was little. I mean, you can buy branded Trapdoors, you can buy Wranglers, you can buy different lockers. I mean, this thing, the picture up there, that's a functioning winch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane what these things could, and they take the same amount of, like, you can't just I mean, you can bash, but like you've played around with the Blazer, you know, like you got to drive it properly. Oh, you guys did one. That's right. You guys did the Wagoneer too. That's clutch, man.
This is custom, but
Was that a one-off?
That's a one-off.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's an RC four-wheel drive too, also, right?
Yes, sir. But it was
Yeah,
a custom.
they do the most realistic stuff. Like,
Nice.
they got it done.
Awesome. So I got to wrap it up. I just been flagged by the production team, and they're like, "Hey, you got to wrap this up before they chop you out." So good talking to you, James. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
We'll be doing some more runs, you know, when it's allowed. So
hit me up. Hey, I may be rolling through your guys' neck of the woods in August.
Okay.
I'm maybe doing a big road trip through the Rockies and Utah, and I was thinking about doing like North Rim and coming through you guys, maybe doing Sedona or something.
Sweet. William,
so
for sure. If we're not up there, it's definitely Taylor will be up there and some of the other crew, but you know.
Yeah. Go do some riding too. Well, thank you, sir. This was fun.
Yeah, it was. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
You have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.